Tota is a lonely orphan living with a beautiful blonde.
To show you a little peek as a reward.
I'm not interested.
One day, he discovers she's a vampire. On the verge of death, he drinks her blood and becomes the strongest vampire with cheat skills.
I love you!
The first scene dives straight into the mind of Evangeline, a vampire who's been walking the earth for more than 7 centuries. She's not bragging about immortality instead. She's quietly admitting that living forever can feel like a curse. Watching the world change while people you care about fade away leaves her carrying more ghosts than memories. Still, just thinking about a boy named Tota pulls her out of that hollow place. He's her anchor, the one thing that makes waking up each day worth it. Elsewhere, 3 boys are hidden high in a thick old tree, eyes locked on the road below. Their leader, Tota, gives the signal their MILF teacher Yukihime, who they secretly call Vampire Lady, is about to pass. The moment she's within reach, they drop down like hunters pouncing on prey. But before they can even swing, a wall of magic erupts around her, bouncing them back as if they were toys. She barely moves a muscle. The blondie teacher they hope to surprise turns out to be their combat instructor, and she's unbeatable. Standing over them, she repeats the same deal she's made many times before. Anyone who can defeat her is free to leave this small village and head for the capital. She's merciless about their failure, making sure the whole class sees their humiliation. And she doesn't play favorites even though she's been raising Tota like her own son ever since taking him in. She treats him like any other challenger. Later, another teacher goggles her and suggests she could ease up on her methods. Yukihime pretends not to care, but eventually mutters that maybe he's not entirely wrong. That afternoon, Tota and his friends trudge home, plotting how to bring her down next time. Now that they know she can use magic, they start brainstorming ways to counter it. The goal isn't just beating her, they want to make it to the capital, because that's where the legendary tower stands, and they dream of climbing it. Eventually, Tota splits from the group. The date on the calendar hits him hard. It's the anniversary of the date his parents died in a car wreck 2 years earlier. At the cemetery, he talks to their graves like they're still listening, updating them on his life, and insisting he's doing okay. The truth is, that accident not only took his family but also erased his memories, leaving him with nothing from before that day. Yukihime was the one who stepped in to raise him. She is everything to him, and for that, he owes her everything. Before leaving, he stops by his grandfather's resting place, but that's when something strange happens. A man with striking red hair and a tall staff is standing quietly in the distance. The stranger says only one thing: he'll be waiting at the top of the tower. Before Tota can respond, the man vanishes. That night, Tota tries once again to convince Yukihime to teach him magic. She rejects the idea without hesitation. Days later, after another humiliating defeat, Mr. Tachibana, the same teacher, who once told Yukihime to show some leniency, makes them an offer. He'll train them in secret. The boys start practicing fire spells with wands, but Tota's magic is a disaster no matter how hard he pushes himself. Seeing that, Tachibana hands him a curious bracelet. It's a magic blocker. Whoever wears it can't use spells. All Tota has to do is get Yukihime to put it on. Worried she'll suspect something, he struggles to think of a good excuse. In the end, he doesn't need one. She notices it, assumes it's a gift, and slips it on without a second thought. The following day, she's out in town still wearing it when the boys spring their attack. They teleport in, bind her with magic, and for once, she can't fight back. Smiling faintly, she admits their strategy was impressive. For the first time, they've technically beaten her. The victory lasts only seconds. Tachibana appears, drops the act, and knocks them all unconscious in a blink. He then unleashes a storm of razor-sharp spears of pure magic at Yukihime. Bound by the bracelet, she can't defend herself and takes every hit. His true identity comes out: he's a bounty hunter, and she's his target. He draws a sword to finish the job, but Tota stumbles in and swings his wooden weapon at him. It's like hitting a wall. Tachibana teleports, reappears behind him, and slices his arm clean off. Shock freezes Tota in place. As the killing blow comes down, Yukihime intercepts it with her own body. She tells him his effort mattered, that the gift meant something to her, and that he'd earned her acknowledgement. Before those words can sink in, Tachibana cuts her to pieces in front of him and runs a blade through Tota's chest. Slipping toward death, Tota's mind floods with regret. Then, through the haze, Yukihime's voice reaches him. She says he can live again, but only by becoming immortal like her. The price: drink her blood. She collapses. Without overthinking, he drops to the ground and drinks. Across the field, Tachibana moves to execute Tota's friends, but before he can, a severed arm slams into him, Tota's own. The boy charges in, forcing Tachibana to knock him down and blast him with an explosion spell. Even so, Tota rises again, now fueled by something far beyond human. Energy swirls around him, packing into his fist. He hurls himself forward and delivers a single colossal punch that sends Tachibana smashing into a car. Darkness swallows him. When he wakes, Yukihime is beside him. She tells him he's now immortal and admits the truth about his parents. They weren't victims of an accident. They were murdered. Before they died, they made her promise to protect him. She apologizes for forcing immortality on him, knowing it's a heavy burden. But he's not angry. Instead, he thanks her for staying with him, saying eternity doesn't sound so bad if they face it together. With danger closing in, they decide to leave for the capital. For Tota, there's also the matter of finding that mysterious red-haired man. The two walk side by side down deserted streets, their new journey beginning. Now it's revealed that Japan's population has crashed hard, and about 25% of the whole country is straight up unlivable now. Huge stretches of road go on forever with no one in sight, like walking through a dead zone. All that thrill Tota felt about reaching the capital and running into cool new folks, gone. That buzz totally dies out. Eventually, he takes a break and floats around in a chill lake, just thinking about what it means to be immortal now, but the quiet vibe doesn't last. Suddenly, he bumps into some random person skinny dipping. At first glance, it looks like a naked girl. She flips out, whips out a blade, and starts swinging without hesitation. Girls with swords, that's new. Tota dodges like his life depends on it. Only after nearly getting sliced up does he realize, wait, that's not a girl. That's a dude with an extremely pretty face. His name? Kuramaru. The guy's so androgynous that Tota completely misread the situation. Once the tension drops a little, they finally start chatting. Kuramaru explains that he's part of some elite family that's tied to a place called the Great Tower. That gets Tota hyped, but then things take a sharp turn. Kuramaru reveals his real goal. He's on a mission to wipe out a woman named Evangeline. The air gets heavy real fast. Then something weird catches Kuramaru's eye. Tota doesn't have a reflection. Super sus. And boom, right then, Yukihime shows up out of nowhere. Kuramaru reacts instantly, attacking her with lethal intent. But Yukihime blocks the strike effortlessly and follows it up with a brutal punch that blasts a hole clean through Kuramaru's chest, dropping him flat. Tota just stands there, stunned. But then the impossible happens. Kuramaru starts regenerating. The dude's body literally fixes itself. That's when it clicks. He's immortal too. Kuramaru jumps back into fight mode, ready for another go. But Yukihime stops him and says, if you want to try again, beat Tota first. Now Kuramaru charges straight at Tota, holding nothing back. Tota doesn't even want to fight, but he gets pulled into it anyway. They go at it, trading fast-paced strikes like it's a video game on high speed. Even Yukihime is low-key impressed watching them go toe-to-toe. Eventually, Kuramaru manages to land a serious hit, slicing Tota's head clean off. He thinks he's won, until Tota casually grabs his own head mid-air, pops it back on like a Lego piece, and keeps going. Then, out of nowhere, Tota smashes him with a punch so strong it knocks Kuramaru out cold. After waking up, Kuramaru's so ashamed he can't even look Tota in the eye. He begs to be finished off. But instead of ending him, Tota offers his hand and says they should be buddies. Later, they're soaking in a hot spring together. Tota keeps trying to bond and crack jokes, but Kuramaru stays all stiff and serious. Even after they sign a contract to be on the same team, Kuramaru keeps his emotional walls up. So, being the impulsive dude he is, Tota decides to climb a cliff just to spy on Yukihime and mess around. Kuramaru wants no part of it, but that doesn't stop Tota. At the top, he spots a tiny blonde girl and realizes, oh snap, that's Yukihime's real form. The tall adult version is just a disguise. Then, things get weird. She throws him a wild challenge. If you can snatch my towel, I'll let you see me naked. But Tota just shrugs and says he's not into flat-chested girls, which earns him a blizzard attack right in the face. She launches an ice storm so powerful it sends him flying off the cliff. Luckily, Kuramaru catches him mid-fall and launches him back up like a slingshot. In mid-air, Tota grabs the towel, technically winning the game. But when Yukihime actually starts undressing, he's like, nah, I'm not into older women either. That gets him stomped into the ground repeatedly. On the bright side, the whole thing finally makes Kuramaru laugh. The icy vibe between them finally melts. He agrees to officially roll with the team and even accepts Yukihime's offer to be her student. Now they've got their squad locked in and are back on the road toward the capital. Along the way, they start wondering what if there are other immortals out there. That gives Tota an idea. He wants to gather all the immortals and do some good with their powers. Yukihime just smiles. She's been there before. In fact, she reveals she already did that. She and an old friend created an actual organization of immortals, exactly what Tota was imagining. It's called Yukihime. The scene shifts. Now they're cruising across the water on a boat, heading toward Yukihime's hidden HQ. Tota's bouncing with excitement. Meanwhile, Yukihime is having a serious convo with her squad member Karen. Karen can't stand Tota. She thinks he's an annoying brat who doesn't show any respect. But Yukihime explains the truth. Both Karen and Tota are some of the strongest people in the group, which is why they need to get along. Once they reach the base, Tota meets two more people, Gengoro and Iku. They give him the tour and explain how Yukihime works. It's a crew made up of immortals, magic users, monsters, and all kinds of supernatural beings. Before Tota and Kuramaru can be official members though, they've got to pass a test. All they have to do is land one solid hit on their assigned opponent within a week. Karen chooses to go up against Tota. Gengoro takes on Kuramaru. As soon as it kicks off, Tota charges Karen, but she blocks him with a giant hammer like it's nothing. Kuramaru tries his best against Gengoro, swinging over and over, but nothing lands. Later, both of them are wiped out, confused and annoyed. They're stuck. That's when they notice a girl named Shinobu struggling with garbage bags. She trips, and they help her out. Turns out she's just a normal human with no powers, working at the base's inn. Tota offers to help her with chores to clear his head. At one point, they're carrying dishes down to storage when Tota hears a strange voice in his head. Curious, he follows it down some stairs to a huge cave. There's a weird building there, and inside, they meet a messy, drunk-looking guy named Jinbei. Surprise! Jinbei's actually Yukihime's number 2 strongest warrior, right behind Yukihime. He shows Tota a special sword, locked in a massive stone block. It was crafted by a powerful mage. Jinbei tells him to give it a shot. At first, Tota isn't into it, but eventually he tries. It's super heavy and refuses to budge. Jinbei starts talking about the sword's history, but then that same mystery voice talks to Tota again. He listens, tries one more time, and finally pulls the sword free. Turns out, the voice is coming from the sword itself. It can talk. Its name? Kurobo. Kurobo's kind of sassy and says it picked Tota to be its new partner because it was bored. Jinbei, clearly expecting all this, explains that whoever can master Kurobo gets the ability to mess with the sword's weight, super useful for combat. But it won't be easy. Tota's got to train hard. He and Kuramaru start putting in serious work, sharpening their moves and syncing with their weapons. Finally, trial day comes. Kuramaru takes on Gengoro again and gives it everything. Gengoro still dodges and blocks like a pro, but admits Kuramaru has come a long way. Still, he says Kuramaru's style is too easy to read. That's when Kuramaru flips the script. He remembers how Tota fought taking a hit to land a bigger one. So he lets Gengoro cut off his arm, uses the opening, and stabs him from behind. The gamble pays off. Kuramaru wins. He passes the test and becomes an official Yukihime member. Later, Tota was still fighting Karen. He kept swinging his sword at her again and again, but she was too fast, dodging, blocking, and moving like it was nothing. Then he did something clever. He used his sword's strange power that can mess with how heavy it is, that made Karen lose her footing for a second. Right as he was about to take the win, a loud scream snapped him out of it. He turned his head and saw Shinobu in big trouble. Huge monster-looking creatures had shown up out of thin air and were surrounding her. Tota didn't think twice. He stopped the fight and ran toward her, but Karen held him back. She told him not to rush in yet. She stepped in first, distracting the monsters, giving Tota the chance to get Shinobu out of there. Once she was safe, he returned to the fight. He cranked his blade's weight all the way up and launched himself at the monsters like a comet crashing from the sky. The ground exploded when he landed, and the beasts were destroyed on the spot. Not long after, Yukihime showed up and told them they did well. She also said those monsters probably broke out from somewhere deep inside the base. Then they realized the time limit for the test had already ended. Tota asked for a few more minutes to keep fighting Karen, but she shook her head. Then she smirked and said that earlier slip-up might actually count as a hit, so technically, he passed. With the test over, Yukihime gave Tota and Kuramaru their first real task. Their job was to team up with Karen again and take care of the remaining monsters that had gotten away. They were sent to a forgotten part of the city called District 21. That place was full of broken-down buildings, old streets, and poor people the capital had completely ignored. They were there to help anyone who needed it, especially folks who had nowhere else to go. When they arrived, they visited a small orphanage where a bunch of kids lived. Somehow, Tota lost a silly arm wrestling match and ended up cooking food for everyone. The meal turned out way better than expected, and the kids were surprised that he could even cook at all. While chatting with the lady who looked after the place, they found out some local criminals had been showing up every night, threatening to kick everyone out. That's why they called for help from Yukihime's group. Later that day, Tota was practicing a move called Quickstep. It's supposed to make you faster and hit harder, but he wasn't quite there yet. Just when he thought he had it, some random guy appeared and knocked him flat with one punch. The guy told him he was doing it wrong, but Tota wasn't in the mood to listen. The stranger explained that he was a fighter who travels from place to place and offered to teach him hand-to-hand combat. But Tota turned him down. He said he was only trying to learn Quickstep so he could beat Karin in arm wrestling. She was the one who told him it would help. The guy decided to give him a quick demo. He started flying around the air like he was weightless, moving at crazy speed. Then he introduced himself as Kaido and said he liked Tota's spirit. He agreed to help train him. That night, Tota started a strange kind of training. He cooked and ate using only his feet. Everyone thought he'd lost his mind, but somehow it actually worked. The next morning, he was already quicker on his feet. Kaido still wasn't satisfied though. For the next few days, Tota kept doing everything: walking, lifting, eating, training without using his hands at all. Meanwhile, Kaido secretly met with two shady-looking men in the shadows. After talking for a minute, he transformed into a massive werewolf. That's when we find out the truth. All three of them were actually immortal hunters, and their mission was to wipe out the people in the village. Back in District 21, two guards from Yukihime were patrolling when dark shadow creatures showed up and quietly took them out with guns. At the same time, Karin was taking a quiet bath. She had no idea that someone was sneaking up behind her. The second she noticed something wrong, she raised a shield just in time to block the bullets. Then she grabbed the enemy's gun and shot back, but he blocked it easily and laughed at her. After that, he rushed at her with a blade. Karin didn't back down. She stayed strong, throwing punches and landing solid hits. The attacker cut her across the neck, but it didn't hurt her. He looked confused and kept trying, but she hit him hard in the stomach and pinned him down. Then he pulled out a small hidden gun and fired straight at her face. The shot knocked her down. That's when we learned his name, Chow. He admitted he wasn't even there to beat her. His job was just to keep her busy. Meanwhile, Tota was helping a kid named Ruki clean up trash when they noticed smoke rising in the distance. The same monsters from earlier were now setting buildings on fire. Before they could move, three of them came right at Ruki. Tota jumped in front of him, and Kuramaru appeared right after to help. But they weren't alone for long. More shadow creatures showed up along with the last two immortal hunters. Tota told Ruki to run while he got ready to fight. But before he could move, Kato appeared out of nowhere and hit him with a vampire sealing mark. It knocked Tota out cold on the spot. Now Kuramaru was the only one left to face all of them. Back inside, Karin was still trapped by Chow. He used dark energy to pin her down and started torturing her slowly. He was clearly enjoying every second of it. Outside, Kuramaru started the fight with a bright flashy move that lit up the sky. Then he jumped in. The fight got brutal fast. Kuramaru lost an arm, but kept fighting and even managed to slice off Kaido's arm in return. They both healed and kept going like nothing happened. Kaido then turned on Quickstep and zipped around at insane speed, slamming Kuramaru with a crazy combo. At the end, he sliced Kuramaru's body clean in half. To make sure he couldn't move, Kaido threw two giant metal signs at him, pinning both halves of his body to the ground. Just as he was about to finish the job with a spell, Ruki jumped in and took the hit. At that exact moment, Chow kept torturing Karin, clearly enjoying how tough she was. Kuramaru's still stuck, struggling like crazy under the weight of the junk holding her down. She grits her teeth, not for herself, but for Ruki, the little guy who's now in danger. Kaido has him, and things are going south fast. While trying to wriggle free, Ruki hears the truth come out. The people attacking them? They're just following commands from someone powerful, someone way up in the tower's ranks. This isn't some personal grudge, it's a mission passed down from the top. Just when Ruki's about to get taken out, Kuramaru breaks loose with pure willpower and throws her body forward, even though she's still cut up and barely holding together. She manages to protect the kid just in time. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Tota shows up. Everyone freezes, they weren't expecting him to bounce back. Meanwhile, Karen's been suffering through some next-level pain. Chow's been torturing her non-stop, and she's had enough, so she finally lets it out. Her ability to survive isn't some cheap trick. It's a sacred gift. With no backup coming, she taps into her divine mode. Her whole body glows, she levitates, and the shadows around her get wiped out. Then she unleashes a storm of attacks on Chow that leave him reeling. Back at the main fight, Tota explains that somehow the spell that was supposed to shut him down got sucked into his body. He doesn't get it either, but it worked. The enemies realize he's way stronger now. His arms are wrapped in black armor leaking out energy like smoke. He doesn't know what it is, just that it's time to throw hands. He goes full speed, launching one hit that sends the goons flying. Kato comes in next. The two trade hits, fast and clean. Tota's reflexes are on point now. Karen backs him up too. Then Kaito stops holding back and shows what he really is, a monster, literally. Tota asks why he's doing all this. Kaito shrugs it off. He says he's not fighting for revenge or some big cause, he just loves going up against strong people. That's it. No deeper meaning. So they clash again, both so fast it's like watching two ghosts brawl. The movement is too fast for normal eyes. At one point, Kaito grins and asks if Tota wants to be trained by him for real. Tota says nah. Then Kaito uses a killer move, something called Blazing Piercing Judgment. He moves faster than sound, drills through Tota's chest, and rips out his heart. Crushes it like paper. He starts chanting to end the match, but then something erupts. Tota's body sprouts massive wings darker than night. The pieces of his heart pull themselves back together like time reversed. A giant wave of dark energy explodes out of him. One of the attackers steps back, eyes wide, and whispers, "That's Arabe magic. It's a mythical type of power. Almost no one has it. Only two people in the world are known to use it, and one of them is Yukihime. The other? Standing right in front of them. It's not normal strength. It's beyond immortal. But it comes with a cost. If you go too deep, you lose who you are." Now filled with something wild and dark, Tota hurls punch after punch at Kaito. He doesn't stop. It's like a beast's fury. But right before the final blow lands, he freezes. Something inside him fights back. And in that moment, all the energy vanishes. He drops to the ground, barely breathing. Kaito, lying in pieces, admits he lost. But Tota won't take the win. He says that monster version of him wasn't the real one. They agree to settle it in the dumbest way possible, an arm wrestle. They lock hands. While pushing against each other, Tota tells Kaito that living just to fight is a broken way to exist. With one last push, Tota wins, not with power, but pure stubbornness. Kaito, down on the ground, tells him to finish it. Tota refuses. That's when the old guy shows up, says the job's over, and pulls Kaito out of there. Before anyone can breathe, fire starts ripping through the village. Then Yukihime drops in, raises her hand, and freezes the whole town solid, stopping the fire in one move. Later, while everyone regroups, Yukihime tells Kuromaru that her fireworks signal was smart, it helped them find the others fast. Right after, the enemies show themselves one more time. The old man sees Yukihime and clearly knows her. She changes into her true self and greets him coldly. He opens a glowing door using his weapon, steps inside with Kaito, and disappears. That evening, the villagers throw a massive party to thank the squad. While eating, Yukihime explains that it's no accident Tota has Arabe powers, too, they're blood-related. But far away, hidden in the dark, someone watches Tota through a spy drone. Back at the hideout, Kuromaru realizes something's changing inside her. Every time she sees Tota smile at Shinobu, something burns in her chest. Jealousy. Hard. Later, she's soaking in the bath, lost in thought, when Karen walks in and freezes. Kuromaru's secret is out. She's a girl? Pressed for answers, Kuromaru admits the truth. People from her family are born with both sides. At 16, they get to decide which path they want to walk. Karen doesn't take it lightly. She throws hands, yelling and asking what choice she's going to make. She even tells Kuromaru to stay a girl just to stop Tota from getting close to Yukihime. She knows how Kuromaru feels. Then Aiku shows up and casually drops an idea. Soon after, Kuromaru shows up dressed cute, calling herself Kuryu and pretending to be her own cousin. She asks Tota to hang out with her in the capital. He says yes instantly. They grab a jet ski from Shinobu and head out. While riding through the base levels, they pass a small girl acting weird, but Tota ignores it. The rest of the day is peaceful. They explore the city. Kuromaru's heart is racing the whole time. She realizes she doesn't just admire Tota, she's in love with him. Eventually, they reach the tower, not realizing someone's been spying the whole time. Elsewhere, Yukihime talks to Jinbei. She's uneasy about what's inside Tota. It might not be evil, but it will attract dangerous people like the man watching through the drone, Fate Avarunkus. Back at the tower, Tota and Kuromaru arrive. He's all smiles. She's thinking maybe she's got a shot with him. He even compliments how good she looks as a girl. Just when she's about to confess, boom. Chao returns and locks Tota in shadow chains. Another fighter shows up and charges at Kuromaru with a bunch of swords. She tries to defend herself, but her strength feels off. She wonders if it's because she's in her girl body. She gets knocked down and watches them drag Tota away. Furious, she unleashes her power and hits back hard. She nearly beats them, but one of them tackles her through the tower wall. They both fall. While dropping through the sky, she takes another hit and blacks out. When she wakes up, Chao is there. He wraps her in shadows too. As she's pulled under, she remembers all the moments with Tota. She forces herself to keep going. One final push. She breaks free, smashes Chao with a huge punch, and saves Tota, now back in her male form. The police show up and the enemies vanish. Later, Kuromaru tells Tota what happened, but still pretends Kuryu is just her cousin. She says she doesn't care which body she has, she just wants to be by his side. Then Tota says something wild. He thought Kuryu was gorgeous, like, marry this girl kind of gorgeous. Now Kuromaru doesn't know what to think anymore. Back at the underground base, that weird little girl finally gets introduced. Her name's Kiri. Turns out she's been off on her own, doing some kind of strange spell with sand. When Iku asks her what she's up to, she basically just says, something wild's about to happen, and leaves it at that. Meanwhile, Tota and Kuromaru rejoin the others. When Tota spots Kiri, she walks straight up to him and demands a talk alone. No greetings. No hi. Just follow me. So they head into a quiet alley, and out of nowhere, she starts acting like she's his boss. She claims he failed her somehow, like he was supposed to protect her, but he's just standing there going, "What are you even talking about? We've never met." Before she can explain, something slices across her neck at lightning speed. She drops. Blood's everywhere. A shadow flickers away, vanishing into the wall. Tota thinks it was Chao. As she's fading, Kiri gasps out one sentence, "Grab my hand." The second he does, the world shifts. Boom, back in time. Suddenly, it's morning again. Same day. Same events. Only now, Tota's confused out of his mind. Nothing makes sense. They meet up with Karen and Iku, hop on a boat, and start heading back to the city. On the way, Kiri finally tells him the truth. That ritual she was doing, it lets her set a checkpoint in time. If she dies, everything jumps back to that exact moment. Anyone she's holding gets pulled back with her. She says she's been stuck in that same death loop over and over, but could never bring Tota with her until now. And she's mad about it. She warns him that something massive is coming, and whether he likes it or not, he's right in the middle of it. Flash forward, they return to the alley again. Same setup. Kiri starts talking about someone she met during a secret tower meeting. But before she can say who it was, bam, Chao attacks again. This time, Tota's ready. He blocks the blade, then turns Kurobo up to an absurd level and slams Chao so hard into the sky, it's like Team Rocket blasting off. Kiri keeps going. She says she saw what's coming. Fataveris, deadliest mage alive, shows up, kidnaps Tota, and wipes out every teammate he has. She watched it happen, that's why she offed herself and reset the timeline. Tota is shook. He doesn't know why Fate's even targeting him. Kiri has no clue either. But she's certain. If Fate captures him, everyone's done. Her solution? Force Fate into another rewind. But this time, trap him in it too. Karen and Iku walk in mid-combo and finally figure out what her ability actually is. Later, on a train, the whole team talks things through. Rule died. 1. Don't let anyone find out what Kiri can do. If enemies knew, they could just keep killing her to reset reality on purpose. Then she lays out the ambush, bait Fate to a specific spot, and once he's there, activate the rewind while everyone's touching her, including him. The save point will be the secret cave under their base. Everyone gets their own role. The team splits to prepare. Tota wonders why Yukihime isn't helping. Kiri says if Yukihime gets anywhere close, Fate will sense it and bounce, ruining everything. While waiting, a hooded blonde bumps into Tota and slips some kind of charm onto his back without him noticing. Later, he starts digging online to learn more about Fate. That's when Yukihime calls. She finally gives him the history lesson. Fate used to be a hero. He fought side by side with her and Negi, Tota's granddad. But after Negi died, Fate flipped sides and went dark. She warns him don't fall for anything he says. After the call, Tota starts wondering, did Fate have something to do with his memory loss, or his parents' deaths? Eventually, Iku spots Fate using satellite tracking. They're ready. The plan? Fire a space laser from orbit at the exact moment he walks into position. But right before the blast can launch, Tota spots some old friends from his village, right near the target zone. He yells for them to cancel the shot. Lasers off the table. The friends walk up and say hi. Tota tries to stay chill and not blow his cover. Meanwhile, one of Fate's goons sneaks up behind Iku and chops off the arm holding the controller. At that moment, Fate walks right up to Tota and calmly says he knows everything about him, his crew, their hideout. He says unless Tota cooperates, everyone nearby dies. Tota doesn't flinch. Instead, he yells loud enough for civilians to hear. There's a threat inside. That clears the area. Karen appears and lands a surprise hit. Tota jumps in too. Together they go for a tag team strike. Fate blocks with magic, but Tota increases Kurobo's weight and shatters the shield. Just then, Iku regains satellite access and launches the orbital blast. Boom. It hits dead center. The squad jumps into action. Kuromaru and Kiri rush toward Fate. As he struggles to absorb the beam's energy, Kiri grabs him. Two others touch her at the same time. Almost there. But before she can link with the rest, she freezes. Literally, her body turns into solid stone. Everything falls apart. The window to rewind is gone. The group panics. Should they retreat? Tota refuses. Fate took damage. Now's their shot. While the battle with Fate rages on, backup enemies flood the area and start ganging up on Tota's squad, picking them off one after another. Despite being completely outmatched, Tota keeps swinging, refusing to back down. Fate, though, is on another level entirely. He's dodging, countering, and casting spells like it's second nature. In the middle of this chaos, Karen contacts Tota. She says there's a strange glowing number ticking down above Kiri's arm. Neither of them knows what it means exactly, but they decide to trust Kiri and hold off Fate until it runs out. Tota steps it up. He starts trash-talking Fate, distracting him with fake-outs and fast footwork while keeping the heat on. Just before the countdown hits 0, he slams Fate to the ground using Kurobo's massive weight and retreats to regroup with the others. Once the timer ends, he quickly grabs Kiri's hand and boom, the stone curse around her shatters. Everyone rushes to her side. She's still in contact with Fate, who's pinned and unable to break free. That's when she uses her time rewind spell and flings the entire crew, enemy included, back to their earlier checkpoint in the underground hideout. When they land, Fate finds himself face to face with Yukihime after 2 whole decades. Her sudden appearance catches him off guard. He looks ready to fight, but deep down, he knows he's been outmaneuvered. He puts up his hands in surrender and offers to answer 1 question per person if they let him go. When it's Tota's turn, he asks why Fate's been targeting him. Fate says his goal is to use Tota's power to rescue Negi and, in doing so, save everyone across the entire solar system. They've got about 20 years to pull it off. But Tota isn't done. He hits him with a deeper question. Did you kill my parents? Fate straight up says yes. That sets Tota off. Shadows flare up around him, his dark energy erupts, and he gets ready to beat Fate down. But just as he's about to snap, a magic symbol flashes in the air, and suddenly a ghostly version of Negi appears. His grandpa warns him Fate is lying, but he's not entirely evil either. Everything he's done, no matter how messed up, was to help Tota in some twisted way. Meanwhile, Yukihime sends a private message to Kuromaru. She tells him there's a device planted in Tota's body. It's what's making the fake spirit appear. Kuromaru slices it clean off, cutting the illusion short before it spills any more secrets. Once everyone has asked their questions, Fate walks off. But even as he disappears, Tota's mind is still spinning. He tries getting more answers from Yukihime, but she brushes him off and walks away. Soon after, a mature blonde lady rolls up to the base with a crew of girls. She asks to meet Yukihime and wants Tota in on it too. Later that day, Tota's chilling with Shinobu, drinking tea, when one of the new girls, Mizore, kicks down the door and randomly challenges him to a brawl. She throws out some wild accusations about his bloodline being full of monsters, then swings at him. He blocks easily and sends her flying out the window, but follows her, catches her midair, and lands on the rooftop with her in his arms. That's when she casually announces, "Congrats, you passed. You're my boyfriend now." Tota's like, "What?" From then on, Mizore is full-on obsessed. She puts on Shinobu's clothes, cooks him giant meals, and tries to impress him every second she gets. Meanwhile, the other girls on the team start catching feelings too. They're watching Mizore closely, trying to figure out how serious she is. Iku strolls in and tells them about a legendary love trick, a hot spring back scrub ritual. Wash someone's back 50 times, and they'll fall for you. The girls roll their eyes, but secretly they all plan to try it. Elsewhere, Yukihime has a serious conversation with the blonde woman, another one of Negi's old students. They talk about the ghostly vision from earlier. Turns out, it wasn't really Negi. His body was taken over years ago by a dark sorcerer called the Life Maker. Now, anytime Negi shows up, it's because his possessor allows it. The woman tells Yukihime she has to stop shielding Tota. He needs to face all of this head-on. Back in the hot springs, Tota's just trying to chill with Iku. They're chatting when Iku drops a bomb. He's actually 72. When he was 13, his real body went into a coma, and his mind was transferred into a robot. His actual body is still asleep somewhere out there. While they talk, the girls prep their sneak attack. Mizore hears about the bath trick too. Surprisingly, Karen shows up first. She charges in and tries to start scrubbing Tota's back, but Kiri flies in and kicks her across the room. Then, all hell breaks loose. Every girl rushes in, and a massive spa war erupts. Out of nowhere, Yukihime shows up. She ends up alone with Tota, casually takes a seat, and starts washing his back. While doing it, she finally opens up. She says sorry for earlier, she was overwhelmed. Later, they meet again on the dock. This time, she's in her true form and drops a massive truth bomb. She confesses she's always loved Negi, and the version Tota saw earlier, that wasn't really him. She explains that 20 years ago, Negi saved the planet by defeating the Life Maker but got possessed in the process. Ever since, both she and Fate have been trying to save him, but they've taken very different paths. Tota brings up his parents again, hoping for the truth. And Yukihime hits him with something even crazier. You don't have parents. He stares, confused. She continues he wasn't born. He was made. Created in a lab 2 years ago using Negi's DNA, which means Tota isn't just related to Negi. He is Negi, a clone. The next morning, he tells Kuromaru everything. His friend does what he can to cheer him up, but it's clear the news hit hard. That's when Mizore barges in like it's her house and demands they go to the capital. There's a big martial arts tournament happening, and she thinks it'll be the perfect distraction from his identity crisis. They head out, get lost in the crowd, and start exploring the event. But when Tota tries to sign up, no luck. All spots are filled. He's a little disappointed but shrugs it off. Next time. That's when Mizore's great-grandmother suddenly shows up, dragging him away without warning. She introduces him to 2 more of Negi's past allies, Tatsumiya and Chachimaru. Mizore can't believe it, but she's stuck watching them leave. Elsewhere, Yukihime hears her old teammates are in town and decides it's time to go too. Back at their base, Tota finds himself being pulled along by a group of girls who take him to an old classroom, one that used to belong to his legendary granddad, Negi. The vibe is totally surreal. Inside, he meets Seyo, a literal ghost who used to be one of Negi's students. Along with the others, she welcomes him like he's part of their family. Even though he's technically a clone, they don't see him that way at all. To them, he's carrying on Negi's legacy, and they're already proud of him. Everyone gets a bit emotional, and they hug him like he's been one of them forever. Suddenly, Tatsumiya gets a call. One of the fighters in the tournament bailed, and they need a quick replacement. Boom, next thing you know, Tona's standing in the arena with a roaring crowd. Across from him is a masked fighter named Cutlass. The match starts, and things get intense real fast. They clash back and forth, but Tota quickly realizes he's up against someone seriously dangerous. From the audience, Kuromaru and the others sense something's off. Cutlass isn't just strong, she's got this creepy, murderous energy about her. Meanwhile, Tatsumiya checks in with the fighter, who was supposed to be in this match, and learns that Cutlass took him out just to sneak into the tourney. Back in the ring, Tota keeps pushing, but Cutlass is straight up overpowering him with both muscle and wild magic attacks. Then things get personal, she starts trash-talking him, calling him a knockoff clone, and mocks everything he is. She eventually cuts him clean in 2, but he doesn't stay down. His rage kicks in, and this dark power around him goes wild. Even then, she plays it cool. She drops enchanted swords on him from the sky that pin him to the ground and cancel out his powers. While he's trapped, she keeps throwing shade, saying he'll never live up to Negi. But then his friends start cheering from the stands. That fires him up. He powers through the blades and lands a powerful punch right to her face. Her hood flies off, revealing she's actually a girl. She's not fazed though. She smirks and says the clock's run out. Then, like something out of a dream, Negi himself descends from the sky. But it's not actually him. The people watching Tatsumiya and the others know it immediately. This is the Life Maker pretending to be Negi. He tells Tota he needs him to help save the world, but Yukihime suddenly bursts onto the scene, smashes the barrier around the arena, and exposes the truth: this is not her beloved Negi at all. Things go sideways fast. 2 of Yukihime's old classmates appear out of nowhere and trap her with spells. Just then, a massive guy crashes down from above, charging at Tota. Karen, Kuromaru, and Kiri all jump in to block the attack and hold the line. Yukihime fights through the magical trap and finally breaks free. The gang's all together now, ready to face off against this fake Negi and his goons. Kiri steps up, trying to talk her way out of the situation and stall for time. But one of the enemies has mind-reading powers and completely calls her bluff. Then, they drop a crazy truth bomb. Tota is the only perfect fusion between Negi and Asuna's bloodlines. He was never meant to live freely. They calmly ask him to come along quietly. Of course, Tota says no way. That's when a creepy voice echoes around him. A black vortex opens beneath him, and he's sucked into some alternate world. Everything goes dark. When he opens his eyes, he's glowing like a spirit, stuck in a dreamlike realm. He spots Yukihime, badly hurt, and runs toward her but can't reach her. The scenery warps and shifts like a bad dream. That's when a new character appears, Yukihime. He introduces himself as the wizard who made the sword Kurobo. Kurobo, not trusting this guy at all, tells Tota to be careful. This mage is powerful enough to beat even Yukihime if he wanted to. Alberio says his only goal is to get Tota to join Negi's side. So, he shows him visions of the past, like the romance between Yukihime and Negi, then her love for Negi years later. At first, it looks sweet, but then Alberio drops the hammer and admits it was all fake. Just as Dream Yukihime walks up to Tota, a creepy woman, cloaked in shadows, shows up and traps her. Then Alberio stabs Tota in the back with multiple spears while he's distracted. The Shadow Woman steps forward and introduces herself as Yoldabath, the original Life Maker. Without even hesitating, she cuts Yukihime in half, while Alberio uses gravity magic to keep Tota completely frozen. Even though he's been stabbed and can barely move, Tota drags himself across the ground, trying to reach Yukihime. Yalda tells him there's only one way to save her. He has to join her side. He finally crawls to Yukihime and picks her up. Through tears, she tells him all she ever wanted was someone to walk beside her under the open sky. That hits him hard. With his promise to stay by her side, he dodges Yolda's next attack and manages to carry Yukihime away. She explains that they're inside a world made entirely by the Life Maker's imagination. Here, Yalda can bend anything to her will. But Yukihime still has one last move. She summons a magical shield around them, and together they charge in to end this fight. But it's chaos. Yalda keeps changing shape, looking like Nagi one moment, then Negi the next, completely messing with Yukihime's head. The illusions and attacks get so overwhelming that Tota gets taken down fast. He wakes up surrounded by fake girls, trying to drown him in a sea of red. At first, he panics and starts sinking. But then, someone new breaks through the nightmare. A girl appears and shatters the hallucination. Her name is Asuna, and she tells him she's his grandmother. She got inside while Yalda was busy messing with his mind. She waves to Yukihime, who also escaped the illusion, along with the rest of the team. Yalda tries to attack again, but Asuna blocks it like it's nothing. Then she drops a truth bomb. Even though they felt like they were trapped for hours, less than a second passed in the real world. Before time runs out, she explains everything she knows about the enemy. She looks at Tota and says the only way to stop Yalda is for him to survive exactly 37 seconds against her in a real fight. With that goal locked in, Tota and the crew prepare to return to reality. Without wasting a moment, the entire crew splits into small squads and begins striking the enemy with perfect timing. Thanks to Asuna's insider knowledge, they tear through the weaker enemies like paper. While all this is happening, Tota doesn't wait. He dashes straight toward the Life Maker, eyes locked, ignoring everyone else around him. As the fight heats up, Tota tries to connect with the real Negi, buried deep inside, hoping to shake him free from the Life Maker's control. But Yalda, now in full possession of Negi's body, unleashes a horrifying spectacle. A mountain-sized wave of spirits, all twisted and undead, charges at them like a ghostly tsunami. Right as things are getting out of hand, two flashes of steel break through the chaos. Evangeline and Fate arrive, blades drawn. Fate immediately casts a spell that clears the illusion around Negi, letting Tota see his real grandfather inside. Suddenly, the spirits of all four fighters rise together into the sky, coming face to face with Negi's true self. Fate explains the full strategy. He's been preparing to defeat the Life Maker and save the world. Negi listens carefully and admits the plan has potential, but saving him personally is a long shot. With what little time they have left, Evangeline grabs Negi in a tight hug, clinging to what little remains of him. Negi gives Tota a final few words of encouragement before the scene dissolves and they all crash back down to reality. The moment they return, Yalda transforms again, dodging an attempt to turn her into stone. Fate and Evangeline combine their strength for a follow-up assault, but she casually brushes them aside like it's nothing. When she shifts her attention to Tota, she hurls him backward with such force that he nearly blacks out, but instead of giving in, he undergoes a power boost of his own. Now running at full throttle, Tota matches her speed and strength in the sky while the rest of his friends are fighting for their lives below. Up above, he's struggling. Yalda's power is simply overwhelming. Meanwhile, on the ground, her army is dominating his teammates. As Tota glances down and sees the smoking wreckage of the nearby city, guilt and fury take over. He goes berserk, launching a vicious flurry of attacks and turning the tide in his favor. But just when it seems like he's winning, one of Yalda's soldiers appears and drives a massive sword straight through his body. Tota crashes to the earth, blood pouring from his chest. Just as Yalda prepares to finish him, Kiri throws herself into the path, blocking the hit. Yalda hesitates, recognizing Kiri's deadly reset power. That's when the telepath girl blurts out Kiri's hidden feelings. She's in love with Tota. The moment softens the scene, until Cutlass appears like a devil and plunges a blade into Kiri's back. Cutlass digs into Kiri's mouth and pulls out a secret pill, her backup plan for resetting the timeline. The sight of this sends Tota into an uncontrollable rage. He tears through the restraints holding him down, but Kiri, barely conscious, begs him to hold off. She says everything's going perfectly. Right then, a massive glowing symbol lights up under everyone's feet, teleporting the entire group to a different battlefield. Waiting there are all of Neji's former students, who have set up a trap using their combined strength. They hit him with everything: magic, martial arts, coordination, creativity. Though brute force isn't enough, their teamwork helps Negi push back against the Life-Maker's grip. That's when Asuna shows up and wipes away the illusion completely, yanking everyone back to the real world. She steps up to Negi and he instantly recognizes her, a clear sign that a part of him is still inside. But it doesn't last. Yalda quickly takes over again and calmly says she's done here. Before vanishing in a flash of light, she tells Tota to meet her at the top of the Great Tower. Meanwhile, Jinbei and his team are out helping citizens escape the ruined city. Back at their base, Tota gathers his courage and confesses his feelings to Evangeline, even going as far as asking her to marry him. He says he made up his mind inside the illusion and wants to stay by her side no matter what. Evangeline gently turns him down. She tells him she doesn't need someone to protect her even if she does care about him. The other girls overhear the proposal and instantly tackle Tota, yelling at him for being so bold. Later, while relaxing in the hot springs, Kurumaru and the rest of the girls chat about the situation. Of course, the marriage proposal becomes the main topic. They start sharing their thoughts about Tota, some teasing, some serious, until Evangeline enters. The moment she does, they bombard her with questions about her history with him. That's when Evangeline hears the bombshell. She was Tota's first love. Those words hit her like a truck, pulling her into a memory from centuries ago. Back then, she was dying on a battlefield, when a mysterious witch dragged her away to a floating castle. The witch made her a deal: defeat her in combat and earn your freedom. Evangeline fought time after time, but never won. Then one day, she discovered a boy sleeping inside the castle Tota. When he woke up and called her Yuki, she was confused. He seemed to recognize her, but she didn't remember him. Later, he asked if she knew someone named Evangeline. That name sent her into a panic. She screamed that Evangeline was just a distant relative. Then, she collapsed. Seeing her in that state, Tota brought her food and supplies. But instead of thanking him, she bit his neck and drank his blood. He didn't resist, he just watched her heal, realizing this had to be Yukihime. When he asked her name again, she said it was Kitty. Sometime later, when he offered to help her escape the witch, she vanished without warning. 2 years later, they met again during one of his training sessions. She noticed that there was something off about him, two chaotic forces battling inside his body. From then on, she helped him learn to control his power. But just like before, he disappeared again. When he finally returned, 4 years had passed, yet he claimed it had only been a week. One night, Evangeline fell asleep and dreamed of her family, but the dream twisted into a nightmare. Tota woke her up, clearly worried, and she asked if he saw what she was dreaming. When he said yes, she went berserk and started attacking him, leveling the castle with her magic. Eventually, he grabbed her wrists and told her the truth. He loved her. He wanted to be there for her, to repay everything she had done. The honesty shocked her. But just as he opened up, he realized something was wrong. Confessing his feelings to a version of Evangeline from the past didn't make sense. He backed off, and she exploded with fury again. Even then, he kept telling her she deserved happiness and love. She replied with the same story she always told about being cursed to live alone. But Tota didn't accept it. He shouted that she could have it all. She asked if he meant with him. He said no. Then he smiled and said she was meant to fall for someone else, a red-haired hero, clearly hinting at Negi. That moment changed everything. Two people from different timelines, somehow crossing paths. Back in the present, Evangeline reflects on all of it and realizes she was right from the start, but it still took 5 whole centuries to find their way back to each other. After things cooled down, Tota and the squad went back to their regular assignments like nothing ever happened. But while they handled missions, Kiri was quietly falling apart inside. Her emotions were all over the place, constantly thinking about her feelings for Tota. She couldn't stop comparing herself to the other girls around him. She didn't cook his meals. She never really doted on him or stuck close like the others did. She felt invisible, like she wasn't special to him at all. That thought kept gnawing at her, making her feel more insecure by the day. Trying to distract herself, she started obsessing over the stock market, scrolling graphs, watching trends, anything to keep her mind busy. But just as she was getting into the zone, Tota and Mizore crashed into her room like clowns, inviting her to chill with them over tea and sweets. Their sudden energy completely wrecked her concentration, and in the chaos, she accidentally lost a massive amount of money. The second she noticed how much she'd lost, her panic turned into desperation. Without thinking, she grabbed a knife and aimed to end her own life, hoping it would reset time like before. Mizore and Tota freaked out, diving to stop her. They wrestled the knife away from her, but Kiri wasn't done. She bit down on an emergency capsule she'd kept hidden in her mouth, meant to force a time jump if the knife failed. During the commotion, all three of them slipped, and Kiri landed right on top of Tota's lips first. The kiss caught everyone off guard. She jumped up, face red, flustered beyond belief. But something was wrong. Mizore was stuck mid-air, completely frozen like time had stopped. Tota figured it must have been some spell, but Kiri knew better. Her attempt didn't trigger a reset. Then she realized they had crashed right on top of her old save point and shattered it. That was the real reason everything was frozen. They'd broken the checkpoint, and now time itself was in lockdown. To confirm it, they wandered around the base. Everyone was frozen solid, like statues. Oddly, Tota was excited, thinking Kiri had unlocked some wild new power, but she immediately shut that idea down. No, this was a glitch, and she had no idea how to fix it. While she went into panic mode trying to figure it out, Tota took advantage of the frozen world to train non-stop. He saw it as free time to level up. Hours turned to days, and somewhere in that strange stillness, they started bonding. One day, he looked her in the eyes and told her something that shook her. He saw her as his rock. The person who helped him survive his hardest battles, not just with plans and tactics, but emotionally too. That moment gave Kiri a sense of peace. For once, she felt like she truly mattered. But the calm didn't last. Later, she saw Tota gently taking care of Yukihime, fixing her hair, brushing her cheek, being incredibly soft with her frozen form. Watching how naturally he did it crushed Kiri. That one quiet moment told her just how deep his love for Yukihime went. Time didn't move, but it felt like her heart cracked. Months passed, 4 to be exact. Tota kept training every day like a machine. Kiri, on the other hand, was breaking down. The stress, the pressure, the loneliness, it all overwhelmed her. One day, while she sat crying quietly nearby, Tota tried cheering her up. He smiled and said everything would turn out okay. Then, almost as a side comment, he mentioned how he might climb the tower to see his grandfather since time wasn't moving. That hit Kiri like a truck. The way he said it so casually made her realize just how easily he could leave her behind. Tears welled up. She begged him to tell her if he hated her. He didn't know what to say. That night, they ended up sharing the same room. Unable to sleep and still emotionally raw, she slipped into his bed and admitted she didn't want to be alone. He didn't push her away. They lay there, wrapped up together. And in that quiet moment, he told her the thing she'd been aching to hear, that he'd never abandon her, that she could always count on him. The next morning, Kiri had an idea. Maybe kissing him again would fix everything, since the first kiss caused the mess. Shaky but determined, she leaned in and kissed him again. And boom, Mizore suddenly snapped back to life mid-fall, screaming. Everything and everyone in the base returned to normal like nothing had happened. Time had resumed. A few days later, Karin got dressed up and went to Yukihime's office for work. But when she got there, Yukihime wasn't in just a box of fancy chocolates sitting on the desk. Curious, she took one and ate it. Not long after, Tota showed up and did the exact same thing. Later that day, the team got busy prepping for a bunch of new guests, checking into the inn, which doubled as their secret headquarters. After the group's recent heroic efforts in the city, their popularity skyrocketed. People wanted to meet them or just stay near the legends. While helping out, Tota suddenly marched up to Karin and dropped a bomb. He said he was in love with her. Straight up, he told her she was vital to him, and he needed her beside him to defeat whatever came next. Karin went bright red. She clearly had feelings too, but was too stunned to speak. Just then, Yukihime strolled in and casually asked what was happening. And out of nowhere, Tota ran up and proposed to her on the spot. Yukihime didn't miss a beat. She launched him with a massive kick. After that, she explained something horrifying to Karin. Those chocolates were actually laced with a truth serum. Anyone who ate them couldn't lie for half a day. Karin's face went pale. She'd eaten one, and now she couldn't shut up. Thoughts came flying out of her mouth unfiltered, especially around Yukihime. Panicking, she sprinted off to find Tota before he could blurt out anything worse. But it was already too late. Tota was on a confession spree, running around telling every girl he loved them. Every single 1. Chaos spread like wildfire. Karen chased after him, trying to clean up the mess with every confused girl he left behind. Things got even crazier when he started confessing to the guys too, and even the visitors. Finally, Yukihime had enough. She used teleportation magic to blast him somewhere far, far away. In the next scene, he and Karen woke up in a weird realm that looked like a classroom punishment zone. They were being scolded by the universe. Karen tried not to show any emotion, even while Tota listed everything he loved about her one by one. She nearly lost it, then turned and ran away. She shouted that she couldn't fall in love with him because of her pride. But Tota didn't let her escape. As she turned to fight, her outfit magically changed into something fantastical. That's when she realized they were in a dream world. The two of them battled it out until Tota pulled a move that stripped her down to nothing, freezing her mid-attack, and there, he confessed again. He wanted her in his life for good. Karen finally cracked. Teary-eyed, she admitted her guilt. In the past, she betrayed someone she admired more than Yukihime. After that, she tried ending her own life but discovered she was immortal, cursed for betraying someone like a god. She said the world was full of pain, and she still didn't understand why Yukihime cared about someone like him, a clone. Tota didn't hesitate. He told her he still loved her. That immortality wasn't a curse, it was an opportunity they could use forever to make the world better. He reached out and asked her to join him in chasing that dream. She tried to stay quiet, holding her feelings in, but right as she was about to say something back, the dream shattered. They were suddenly back in reality, standing in front of Yukihime. And then Yukihime dropped the biggest twist: the chocolates were never laced with anything. Everything they said, all the raw honesty. It was all real. Karen stood in stunned silence, then turned and left without a word. Later, she soaked in the hot springs with Kiri, venting about everything that happened with Tota. Their peaceful moment was shattered when Mizore and Shinobu barged in, dragging him along. They were on a mission: wash his back 50 times again, whether he liked it or not. They stripped him down and chucked him in the bath like a sack of potatoes. Unfortunately for him, he landed right on top of Karen and Kiri hands first. Both girls screamed. He got launched straight into orbit. And that's where this video ends. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And also watch this following video until the new one.